Although case interviews do not require any technical math or finance knowledge, there are basic formulas that you should know in order to do well to master case interview math. I'm a former Bain manager and interviewer, and in this video, I've pulled together 10 case interview formulas that you should absolutely know. Number 1, contribution margin. Contribution margin represents how much money each product sold brings into the company after accounting for the cost of raw materials needed to make the product. It is calculated as price minus variable cost. For example, if your company's shirts sell for $20 and raw materials cost $5, then the contribution margin is $20 minus $5 or $15 per shirt. Number 2, return on investment. Companies make investments by spending money in the hopes of earning even more money in the future as a result of the investment. Return on investment, or ROI for short, represents how much additional money a company generates relative to the size of its initial investment. ROI is calculated by taking the profit that the company generated from the investment and dividing it by the investment cost. For example, your company spent $5,000 on marketing to advertise its shirts. As a result, the company generated an additional $6,000 in profits from selling shirts. This profit does not yet take into account the cost of the marketing campaign. Therefore, the company has a net increase in profits of $1,000 from its original $5,000 investment. The ROI is $1,000 divided by $5,000, or 20%. Number 3, market share. Market share measures the percentage of total market sales a particular company has. It is calculated by taking the company revenue and dividing it by the total market revenue. Market shares can range from 0% or no presence in the market to 100% complete dominance in the market. For example, your company sells shirts and generates $100 million in annual revenue. The market size of shirts is $500 million. Therefore, your company has a market share of $100 million divided by $500 million, or 20%. Number 4, relative market share. Relative market share compares a company's market share to the largest competitor's market share. It measures how strong of a presence a company has relative to the market leader. If the company is the market leader, relative market share measures how much of a lead they have over the next largest player. Instead of using company market share and the largest competitor's market share, you can use company revenue and the largest competitor's revenue. This will give you the same answer. For example, your company has a 20% market share in the shirts market. Your largest competitor has a 50% market share. Therefore, your relative market share is 20% divided by 50%, or 0.4. Second example, your company is the market leader and has a 50% market share in the shirts market. Your largest competitor has a 25% market share. Therefore, your relative market share is 50% divided by 25%, or 2. If you're finding this video helpful, please take a second to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our consulting and case interview content. Number 5, gross profit. Gross profit is a measure of how much money a company makes from selling its product after taking into account the costs associated with making and selling its product. These costs are often called the cost of goods sold. For example, your company sold $20,000 of shirts last year. The cost to produce these shirts was $5,000. Therefore, your gross profit is $20,000 minus $5,000, or $15,000. Number 6, operating profit. Operating profit is calculated by taking gross profit and subtracting all operating expenses and depreciation and amortization. Operating expenses may include rent, utilities, maintenance and repairs, advertising and marketing, insurance, and salaries and wages. So, operating profit is always less than or equal to gross profit. Depreciation is the spreading of a fixed asset's cost over its useful lifetime. For example, let's say that a company purchases a new machine for $10,000 that it expects to last for 5 years. Instead of stating that it incurred $10,000 in costs in its first year, the company may choose to state that the new machine costs $2,000 per year for the next 5 years. Amortization is the spreading of an intangible asset's cost over its useful lifetime. It is the exact same principle as depreciation, except that it deals with intangible assets, or assets that aren't physical. For example, let's say that a company purchases a patent for $10,000 and expects the benefits of the patent to last for 20 years. Instead of stating that it incurred $10,000 in costs in its first year, the company may choose to state that the patent costs $500 per year for the next 20 years. Let's take a look at an example of calculating operating profit. You sold $20,000 of shirts last year. Cost of goods is $5,000, operating expenses are $10,000, depreciation of a machine is $2,000, and amortization of a patent is $500. Therefore, your operating profit is $20,000 minus $5,000 minus $10,000 minus $2,000 minus $500, or $2,500. Number 7, CAGR. CAGR stands for Compounded Annual Growth Rate. It measures how quickly something is growing year after year. It is calculated by taking the ending value, dividing by the beginning value, and raising that to the power of 1 over the time period, and finally subtracting 1 from all of that. Example, your company generates $144 million in annual revenue. 2 years ago, your company only generated $100 million. Over this time period, your CAGR was $144 million divided by $100 million, raised to the power of 1 over 2, minus 1, which equals 20%. In other words, your company grew by 20% each year for 2 years. Number 8, Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 is a shortcut used to estimate how long a market, company, or investment would take to double in size. To use it, simply divide 72 by the annual growth rate to get an estimate for the number of years needed to double in size. For example, your company is growing steadily at 9% per year. Using the Rule of 72, we'd expect it to take 72 divided by 9, or 8 years for your company to double in size if it maintains its current growth rate. Number 9, perpetuity formula. An annuity is a fixed sum of money paid at regular intervals such as every year. Perpetuity is an annuity that lasts forever. The present value of a perpetuity is calculated by taking the cash flow of each payment and dividing it by the discount rate. Let's look at an example. You're expected to receive $1,000 per year for the rest of your life. You expect that you will be able to get 8% annual returns by investing in the stock market. Therefore, the present value of this perpetuity is $1,000 divided by 8%, or $12,500. In other words, receiving $12,500 today would give you the same value as receiving $1,000 each year for the rest of your life. Number 10, price elasticity of demand. Elasticity is a measure of how much customer demand changes for a product given a change in the product's price. It is calculated as the percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price. In almost all cases, an increase in a product's price results in a decrease in customer demand. Therefore, price elasticity of demand is usually negative. Example, your company has decreased its product's price by 10%. As a result, the number of units sold has increased by 20%. Therefore, the price elasticity of demand is 20% divided by negative 10%, or negative 2. With these 10 case interview formulas under your belt, you should be able to tackle case interview math problems more efficiently and easily. If you need further help with case interview math, or are looking for a step-by-step shortcut to learn case interviews quickly, check out our comprehensive case interview course and books. These are linked in the video description below. We teach the most robust, effective case interview strategies in the least time-consuming way to save you hundreds of hours of prep time and help you land multiple consulting job offers.